Welcome all to our channel GTech Fluent. Our today's topic number 10 in Angular 11 video tutorial series is Angular Interpolation. In this tutorial, we will discuss what is meant by the Angular Interpolation, different ways of the implementing or using the interpolation, and what are the important points that we need to keep remember while using the interpolation. So let's start, and first we see what is meant by the interpolation into the Angular. So in Angular, interpolation is used to display dynamic data on an HTML template, or you can say at the user end. It facilitates you to make the changes on the component.ts file and fetch the data from there to the HTML template. We can display all kind of the properties data into the view, for example string, number, date, array, list, or map. So interpolation is used for the one-way binding. So as we have discussed, there are the different way of the binding. In our previous video tutorial, we have given a brief idea about the data binding. So there are the two ways of the binding, one-way data binding and the two-way data binding. Angular interpolation belongs to the one-way data binding. That means the interpolation moves data into the one direction from our component to the HTML element. If you want to display the read-only data on a view or the HTML template from particular component, then we can use the one-way data binding, that is Angular interpolation. The interpolation in Angular allows you to place the component property name into the view template enclosed into the double curly braces. That is, we have the double curly braces. Inside that, we need to give the property name, which property you have declared into the component level and you want to display into the particular HTML page. So the Angular interpolation is a technique that allows user to bind the value to the UI element. So let's see some of the example of the Angular interpolation. What are the different ways of using the Angular interpolation? So let's switch to our VS Code. We are in our project which we have created for this video tutorial series. So in our previous video tutorial of nested component, we have created one component that is called student detail component, and inside that we have hard coded our student name here. If you see, we have hard coded this. So now let's replace this to get the student name from the component level. So for making the simplification, I will remove this. We'll keep one row only. And let's run application and let's first see the output. For that, you can use the ngserve. So once we run our application, so we will get our result like this. So if you notice, currently we have the values hard coded here. So now we will get this value from the component. We need to create the properties into the component for first name, last name, and the age. So let's do that. Let's go to the components, add the property, name it as a first name. After colon, we need to give the type. So it's a string type, and assign the value. So we'll assign the value which is here. Let's say Jill. Let's do for the last name also. We need to give the type equal to, it's a Smith colon, and we require the age. Type is number equal to, let's say 50. Now we have created the properties inside the component. So we need to display this property value into the HTML page. So let's copy this property. And as we discuss, we need to put that property into the curly braces. So double curly braces, open and close. And let's put that value here. Similar way, let's do for the last name and the age. Let's say it's a last name and age. Let's save it and let's check on the browser what result we get. Look, we are getting the same result which we have previously seen. Now let's see if you want to display the full name. So let's add another column here, paste it and concatenate with the space, and you can bind the with the last name. So in this way, you can concatenate on the HTML page also. So you can concatenate any value here. So let's see the result on the browser. Look, we are getting the full name on the first. So now we are getting the full name on the HTML page. Suppose you want a full name from the function which is declared inside the student detail component. So now let's see how to do that. So for that, we will declare one method called get full name, and the return type for the method is string and return. So we need full name to be written. So the property first name. So I think we have misspelled the name. Let's correct it. FRST first, paste it here as well. Now we have created the method which return the first name. Now let's see how to call that. Let's copy the method name. Make sure you are copying with the whole method, not name. Let's go to the HTML, and instead of first name and the last name, let's use our method like this, and let's save it and see the result on the browser. We are getting the same result from the component level as well. If you want to hard code some string with this value, so how to do that? Means let's say if you want to name this as a full name equal to Jill Smith, first name equal to Jill, last name equal to Smith, and age is equal to, let's say, 50. So now let's see how to do that. So for that, you need to hard code this string. Let's say this is my full name equals, and concatenate the value. Similar way for the other property also. This is what I call first name equal to, and concatenate the value. Let's give this space here. Let's do for the last name also. So it's a last name, give the space, concatenate the value. Now let's save the page and see the result on the browser. Look, we are getting the value like with the hard-coded string, full name equal to Jill Smith, first name equal to Jill, last name equal to Smith, and age equal to 50. So in this way, you can add the any hard-coded string with the particular value from the component level. So now let's see, if you want to perform some mathematical calculation, then you can do calculation using the interpolation also. So in Angular, using interpolation, you can also specify some valid expression. So now let's see, if you want some expression to be done, for example, 10 plus 2 into 5. Let's add one column here, paste it. And if you want some simple expression, 10 plus 2 into 5. So this expression can be executed and run with the help of the interpolation. So let's see the result. Look, we are getting the 20, which our expression result. So it is also possible in Angular interpolation to combine the expression with the property value. So for example, if you want to calculate some value on the base of the property which is set on the particular component level, let's declare some property into the component. We'll call add val. We'll set that equal to 10. And in the HTML page, let's add one column here to understand the thing better. Now let's say we want to add a 5 into the value which is set inside our component. So let's save and see the result into the browser. Look, we are getting the result, and if you notice here we are adding the 5 inside our value 10 which is we have set on the component level. We can use Angular interpolation for the different purpose. For example, you can use the ternary operator as well, and you can make a use of that as per your requirement. We need to take a note of one of the important points on the interpolation. So let's see that. So interpolation is a one-way binding. So as we discussed, interpolation is a one-way binding type. So in interpolation, value goes from component to the template. When component values change, the angular update the view. But if the values change into the view, the component is not updated. So that is the one-way binding. Next important point, that should not change the state of the application. The template expression should not change the state of the application. Angular uses to read the value from the component and populate to the view. If the template expression changes the component values, then the rendered view would be inconsistent with the model. It means that we cannot use some of the followings. For example, we cannot use the assignment, let's say equal to, plus equal to, minus equal to, and so on. We cannot use the keyword like new, type of, instant of, etc. Also in the interpolation, chaining of the expression is not allowed. The increment and the decrement operator is not allowed. For example, double plus and the double minus. So bitwise operators such as pipe and the and, so these are the operator also not allowed. So one of the most important point for the interpolation is a expression must result into the string. So interpolation expression must result in a string. If we return an object, it will not work. If you want to bind the expression that is of other than the string, for example, Boolean, then we need to go for the property binding. So that is the best option for that. So it's work only for the properties, not for the attributes. So we will discuss this point in our upcoming video in detail. So as you must understand, interpolation and the property binding can set only properties, not attribute. For attributes, we need to use the attribute binding. So we will discuss this in our upcoming video with the details. So in this way, you can make a use of the Angular interpolation in your application as per your requirement and the usage. So please let us know if anyone has any query or doubt. We will meet in our next video. Thank you.